for if you were one of the people watching the hockey game, apologies. I am gonna tweet something out here. We'll get this going, and then we'll get right into the film. We saw a fun game yesterday. The Lakers obviously went out to that gigantic lead, and then the lead tightened a little bit, but we're able to hang on, win the game. There's a lot to like. A couple things you want to adjust with, but something that I really noticed being used quite a lot in the first quarter specifically was the Lakers double drag set. But they were very deadly with it, and we saw Memphis adjust to it, and the Lakers adjust to it, and just back and forth. So I wanted to show that film, show what I'm seeing with it, and try to give you some insight as to what the coaches were thinking as they're digging into, how do we make the most of this, or how do we stop this, or how do we counter their counter? Because I think that's a fun element of the game. All right, get my tweet up. Cool. All right, I am going here in like 10 seconds. Can someone confirm that you can hear me in the chat, just so I'm not talking to myself? Okay, perfect. I did that one time, and I am traumatized from just sitting there talking to myself. Don't want that to happen again. All right, perfect. So welcome in, everyone. We are here today to dig into some of the double drag. I guess there was a tactical back and forth between the Lakers and Grizzlies in Game 3 in Los Angeles. This is a set that the Lakers have used more often than anything in the season, a concept they've used more often than anything in the season, a series they have used more often than anything on the season, and they actually got to this concept a couple different ways, and for a reason. They went to it different ways for a reason, and I want to dig into that. When you're playing a team in a 7-game series, you want to find when you can find one of those advantages, you really want to exploit it. And I was very pleased in watching this game to see how frequently the Lakers went to this specific attack. They ran double drag 16 times. 16 times, not 17 times. And it was very, very effective. At certain times, more effective than others. So to be able to see the screen now, we're going to see the Lakers get into their double drag. So we got the 2 ball screens for D'Lo. Just as a quick refresher, so the double drag is a double ball screen set for a ball handler. Here we have Reeves and AD setting the ball screens for D'Lo. The Lakers here are running it with an empty side, meaning there's nobody in the corner that's closer to us towards the bottom of the screen. You've got LeBron at the opposite wing. We've got Jared Vanderbilt at the opposite corner. A lot of times from this setup, and actually let me go back here just a sec. There should be video right now. Can you see the video? I have it paused at this very second, but there is video that I'm attempting to stream. Okay. Yeah, if you can't see the video, maybe try refreshing on your end. But others can see it. So from this setup, we've seen this right here before. This is what it looks like when the Lakers are setting up their rip punch series of plays, where Reeves will go set a screen for AD to then cut to the strong side block, get a post feed, and then they'll clear out or they'll run action off of it. The play will also look like this when Reeves then, he takes a couple steps toward AD and then turns around and sets the ball screen for D'Lo, as we see right here, just like that. There will also be times where Reeves sets the screen for AD, but then instead of AD cutting to the block, he's the one that sets a ball screen for D'Lo. So a couple different looks out of the same setup. Here we're seeing the double drag. And with this double drag, what we're seeing from Memphis as Tillman, he's trying to stick with AD, but actually, look at AD right now. He's open. If the lob goes up, Tillman's not that rim protector, not that lob defender. If we go back and watch this again, we're seeing a heavy stunt from Dillon Brooks off of LeBron. And LeBron's actually taken one full step back from the three-point line. So if he does get the ball, Brooks has further to go to recover to a pass out. So D'Lo here, he's got to read Brooks, and he has to read Tillman. Brooks's disruption here makes it harder to get that lob pass out, but Tillman, we see here, is not looking to contain D'Lo. He's trying to stick with AD. So that lets D'Lo know if he can get through that stunt as he does, he's going to have a decent look at the rim as he does there. So LA goes right back to it. Here we're going to see a show from Ja Morant. Not really. He takes a step out. But Reeves, because of that show, is open. And because it's an empty side, there's nobody around Reeves to stop him here. So he's going to catch the ball. We see Aldama rotate over. And here's I guess, the problematic piece for the Lakers. Jared Vanderbilt's the guy in the corner. He's not a very good shooter, but he's the open player. So Vando gets it. He could have probably looked to attack, but he swings it to LeBron. From here, you can't see him, but D'Lo's at the top of the key wide open right now. Right now, D'Lo's wide open. Braun doesn't see him, gets it back to Vando. He puts the ball up. Reeves still has inside position. The Lakers are still able to score here. There were advantages that weren't quite used. Here we're going to see Tillman again try to stay home. And we're going to see a stunt. So Tillman sticks with AD, a stunt from Aldama. That opens up that driving lane for LeBron. There are three major ways I'd be looking to attack a stunt. And they're not quite getting to the nail. Memphis doesn't actually really help at the nail too much from this look. The nail meaning the middle of the free throw line. There in the old courts used to actually be like a nail in the court so you could see where the middle of it is so you can line up for free throws. Aldama, he's more like just at the elbow. The three ways you can look to attack this stunt from Aldama. One would be kick it out for a three. Some guys are better at that than others. The other thing would be either LeBron catch and then drive, or ideally he takes a couple steps and catches on the move. So he's got some velocity with his movement already on a stampede cut. Or you can try to set some sort of flare screen or down screen between those two guys. Here we see the stampede cut. LeBron takes a couple steps and then catches the ball, and that's stunt. So now here, instead of just staying home with AD, we see Tillman try to actually contain D'Lo a little bit. His drives have burnt that stunting guy, and so we're going to see Tillman. He actually takes a step up, looking to try to contain, and this puts him out of position. If he doesn't stay home, he's out of position on AD. So we've seen several different things here. Again, we're going to see him try to stay home, and we're going to see a stunt from Brooks. And again, look, AD's got the positioning. D'Lo doesn't find him, gets the ball up. But because of that positioning, AD now has the inside track for the offensive rebound. Scores anyway. Let's watch that one again. So screen by Reeves, screen by AD. He kind of slips right out of it. And already, he's got a step or half a step on Tillman. AD running forward is going to be better than Tillman backpedaling. I'd love to see more of these lobs go up because that's going to be real tough to guard. D'Lo drives instead, puts it up at the rim. Can't hit it, but again, that inside position makes it easier to do things. So now we've got Dennis Schröder operating out of this look. And double drag has been really effective for D'Angelo Russell this season with the Lakers. That concept, or just that series overall, he scored like 1 point. The team has scored like 1.6 points per possession when he's operating with it. Dennis Schröder, not nearly as good because he's more of a guy that you can drop against. He's more of a guy that you can go under against. And here we see the defense go under and drop and stunt. And that's going to make life difficult for this play. I've got this in slow motion. No, not much of a real advantage. He kind of has a half step, but he does a pretty good job sealing off space here. And at this point, I'd love for this to just be a lob up to AD or hit AD with a chest pass if you can get it through. I think this is a poor decision by Dennis. That actually not that bad. He's got a decent look at the rim. Just doesn't go in. AD's not able to get the ball. Next, we've got D'Lo back. Again, this is all the first quarter. The Lakers scored 5 of the first 5 times they ran this play. That 6th play they didn't. Here we're going to get a switch. Memphis says, all right, if we try to stay home on the roll man, that's not working. If we try to contain just a little bit and then get back to the roll man, they're going to throw the lob over the top. If we try to hedge, they're going to throw the lob over the top for sure. If we try to show and recover and we don't, take care of that first screener, he's going to be open on that slip to the empty side. If we stunt too hard, we can get burned by threes. We can get burned by cuts. Why don't we try switching? So we see Memphis here try to switch. With Tillman's going to be on D'Lo. But because of that stunt from Aldama, he takes himself out of position to guard Rui. And Rui hits a three. He's hit several of those this series. At game, game 1, third quarter, when Rui hit like 4 threes seemingly in a row, it was a lot of looks like this. Just pass with a stunting defender putting themselves out of position. Just easy offense. So again, same idea here. Can we stunt and switch? It's Dennis again. So Tillman's on Dennis. Look at that. Look at that inside positioning AD has. Because of the switch, you have a smaller player trying to guard that bigger guy. The floor is pretty spaced. It's an empty side corner, so there's nobody there to tag him all that easily. And this is a ball that needs to be able to connect. It just doesn't. But that's, again, the set created the advantage. So here, after a couple plays switching in a row that weren't quite working, Memphis tries to switch things up again and tries to stay home. So they're just switching things up. Maybe the Lakers will make the wrong read. Tillman's going to stay on AD. Don't let AD behind you. But because he's staying home, there's no help on the Reeves drive. He does a good job getting the defender in jail. He scores and one. Just great stuff. Here, the Lakers are going to try to run the set, and she loses the ball before they can get into it. So, that happens. So that was almost all first half, or first quarter, I mean. That was all first half. Most of that was first quarter. Now we're into the second half. Now things are switching up a bit. Memphis has had some time to consider, what can we do to defend this? We've tried drop. We've tried switching. We've tried to just stay home on the roll man and just try to chase over the top. D'Lo and Reeves, they're doing too good a job. Dennis, he went 0 for 2 trying to run this play, but those other guys are doing a really good job. What if we try to switch and while showing and recovering with the first screeners? Because we've got a guard screen, and then we go into drop. So watch this. Kennard, Reeves' man originally, the first screener's man. He's going to jump out and make it hard for D'Lo to use the second screen. If he wants to, he's going to put himself, way around it, and there's no advantage created. And Jackson, the ball screen the screener's defender here, he'll be in a drop. So the Lakers flip this, but now it's just a normal ball screen. It's a normal ball screen, and AD's role, rather than being on a side that has nobody, AD's role is on the side of the court that has Xavier Tillman and John Morant. And so that makes it much more difficult for that roller to be open. And we see no result from the Lakers. So, hey, that worked. Let's try it again. The show switch with a high drop. Same thing here. Forcing the Lakers to reject the screen, try to reset it. Nothing really created. LeBron actually, that's not, the play didn't really create that. Misses the dunk, but so that's what Memphis did. At this point, this is their 4th or 5th attempt at trying to stop this play. They found something that worked. Immediately after this, a timeout was called. The Lakers come out the very next play of the game with this. They're going to go to double drag out of a Ram setup. So instead of just starting out with the two guys ready to set the two screens, AD is going to set a down screen for Reeves first and then follow his screen and be the second screener. Slightly different setup here, but really the value add with this is that the Lakers are trying to prevent Luke Kennard on this play from being able to switch onto D'Lo and show and force him to reject that second screen. Kennard gets hit. D'Lo thinks he's got to pull up here and takes it, does not make it. Same idea. Next play. Ram into the double drag. Kennard trying to recover to this. Hang on, we'll get back to it in a sec. Kennard's really got to try to sell out. Because of that screen, he really has to have his momentum going forward. Tries to beat D'Lo around the screen to force him to reject. Draws the foul. That's free throws. So now that the Lakers have switched things up, we've kind of changed the game a little bit. They just go back to a regular double drag. So there's the switch. Second screen. Ja doesn't really jump out, but it just ends up being a normal ball screen. Decent look for LeBron attacking the stunt. No good. Here again, we get the show. Not a very good show. Lakers switch. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at AD. Look at AD. And he missed him. Results in a post up. Here comes help from Jackson. Strong side. Pushing AD to the baseline. He turns it over. So that's, even when this play wasn't working, like right here, lob. Earlier, we saw Dennis had AD sealed inside, couldn't get the post entry. We saw a play earlier than that where AD was open on the lob again. Like, this play was working time and time again, except for when Memphis was using that show when they were switching for the first screener defender. And that took the Lakers out of the rim, kind of changed the positioning of players on the court and make it more difficult for LA to run the set effectively. So I like this. I'm a big fan. I want to see more of it. I understand why we saw LA not use it as much later in the game, because Memphis made some adjustments. It wasn't quite they scored five of the first 5 times running it. It slowed down a little bit from there. So I think based on how Memphis is defending this, and just with their stunting in general, I wouldn't mind seeing, rather than Rui as that like guy operating weak side wing, if you want to attack the stunt, as we see like on this play, so like Tillman helping middle, the guy where LeBron is, have that be your best three-point shooter. Have that be your Malik Beasley. Have that be, if Reeves is out there with D'Lo, have it be Reeves, or flip it up and have D'Lo be that guy. The first screener in this action isn't frequently getting scoring attempts, and they don't really need to be a sharpshooter. So I would be more willing to actually, stick that shooter where LeBron is here. Another thing you could do is, rather than having a guard and then a big be the two screens in the double drag, have your two biggest players set those screens. Make a switch a little bit more difficult for Memphis. Like, stick Tillman and Jackson in the action as the two screener defenders, and then try to have them figure it out from there. Pull both of them out away from the rim, so that if you do hit the wing player attacking the stunt in driving that crease, both of those players are kind of pulled away from the rim a little bit more. So those are some of my thoughts there. I like the concepts. I thought LA did the right things when they were switching. They attacked the seals with seals. When there was anything like anywhere close to a hedge or being at the level of the screen, they knew AD running forward and jumping was going to be able to get a lob that Tillman backpedaling could not get to. And whenever the defense tried to defend both of those options, whenever they sold out to take away the roll man, either the drive was there, and if the drive wasn't there, it was because there was a hard stunt leaving that kick out player here on the screen, LeBron, open for a three or a drive.
Yes, he did. But Doris, anytime you...
So this is what I've got. This was an interesting battle. This was one example of many where the teams were adjusting. We saw, going back to like game one, I guess just to give you another example of the back and forth from an adjustment standpoint, we saw the Lakers post offense attacking the post help defense from Memphis start out one way, with Memphis sending a double and then having guys at the elbows and blocks going kind of around the paint. And the Lakers countered that by cutting into the paint. Memphis then adjust. So the Lakers faced help, they countered it, and then Memphis adjusted to that counter and said, all right, well, rather than being around the paint, we're going to stick bodies in the paint. So if you cut, you're going into bodies. It doesn't really work as well. So then the Lakers adjusted to that adjustment of their counter and then started setting pin. LA didn't execute the best in terms of actually finding those three-point shooters, but a lot of those shots were there. They used some of them. There were other points on the table. That is just that's another example of the back and forth we've seen within the same game, within the same quarters sometimes. We're seeing these teams trade blows from a chess match standpoint, and it's been a lot of fun to watch. So if you like this kind of coverage, make sure you stick around to these streams that if you're on YouTube, go to our playback.tv/Lakers Watch Party streams. If you're here listening on the stream now, stick around for our game streams. We really go in with those watch parties and dig into what's happening live as this is happening. And this, what I'm breaking down right now, this was a series that we talked about live. And I was calling out those adjustments like, oh, they're switching, look for this. Oh, they're helping from the nail, here's how you attack it. So I think, to me at least, that's a more fun way to enjoy the game, break down the game, and you get to understand more of why the teams are doing what they're doing, rather than just, the team ran a screen and the three was open this time. Like, no, there's purposeful stuff happening where they understand what the defense is running and where the holes are in that defense, and they're calling the plays and executing in a way that attacks those holes. So thank you again, everyone, for sticking by. I'm going to end the watch party now. And then actually, I've got some notes from an adjustment standpoint looking ahead to Game 4. So if you're listening to the stream now, maybe stick around. But thank you again. If you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe for more content like this. Take care, everybody.